Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your boy, The Sean Davy Way Show. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in. Tap that bell if you would like to be notified of all of our future content. Today, I'll bring you a new surviving on Diddy. This time, we're going to talk about Kim Porter and get into Stewart Shakir, who we've spoke of but never really got into too much detail. So we're going to get into that story as well. Some have heard the background between Kim Porter and Shakir Stewart, and some haven't, but we're definitely going to get into it today. Rest in peace to Kim Porter. She was a mother of four, a beautiful model, and a friend to basically everyone. No one has anything bad to say about Kim. People said that she was just a wonderful, sweet person. So again, God rest her soul. If you don't know what happened to Kim, I will definitely give you a little backstory on it. But again, we've spoken on Kim Porter a lot. So if you want to know the actual details behind her passing, you can just go check out some of our old surviving videos that include Kim Porter herself. Speaking of Kim Porter's passing, we definitely announced that when she passed away, the original coroner stated that it was due to a homicide. When the second coroner did Kim's autopsy, the cause of passing did not come back for quite some time. It took a couple months for it to come back, but when it did, it was allegedly because of pneumonia. Let's get into the people that have either stated that Kim Porter was murdered or unalived, and let's get into the people that insinuated it as well, since this lawsuit of Cassie Ventura and Rodney Jones has passed. Kimora Lee Simmons. Shout out to Atlanta Black Star. As you sow, so shall you reap. Kimora Lee Simmons issues cryptic message to Diddy as fans suggest Kim Porter was unalived and want her case reopened. Questions surrounding the sudden passing of Kim Porter have been resurrected following the news that her longtime partner, Sean Diddy Combs, has been named in a bombshell lawsuit alleging years of abuse. The petition was filed by singer Cassie on November 16th in federal district court in Manhattan. Cassie claims that she endured years of savage Porter and the hip-hop figure also shared a roller coaster relationship dating back to 1994. They have 3 children, son Christian, 25, and twin daughters Delilah, Star, and Jesse James, 16. Article is from 2023, has been updated. The twins are now 17, and Christian is 26. Porter passed away at age 47 on November 15th, 2019, at her lake home. Her cause of passing was determined to be lobar pneumonia by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner coroner. The mother of 4 reportedly experienced flu-like symptoms days before her passing, despite having traveled to Africa a month prior. The medical examiner's report stated she did not have any health complaints at the time she returned from her trip. The report also noted there was no known history of drug abuse or alcoholism and no signs of trauma. Still, theories of a nefarious plot playing a role in the Georgia native's passing have lingered. Singer Al B. Sure, her ex, with whom she shares a son, Quincy, is among those who spoke out in the past, casting doubt on the manner of her passing. Al B. Sure's quote, "Just found this footage from the morning I learned of at Lady KP's, aka Kim Porter's, murder, and how it ripped the soul from my physical body," Al B. Sure wrote in a since-deleted Instagram post. Side note, so Kimora Lee Simmons coming forward with this post, the "As you sow, you shall reap," is definitely directed towards Diddy. At this point in time, there was no reason for her to really post anything like that. She wasn't going through any drama with her kid's father or anything like that. It was more so of this Cassie lawsuit coming to the forefront. And it's not a coincidence that the day this information comes out, Kimora Lee posts on her story, "As you sow, you shall reap." So fans immediately targeted Diddy with that post, because what other reason would she have been writing that? Diddy and Kimora Lee have had a tumultuous relationship because, again, of Kim Porter. Kimora Lee and Kim Porter were best friends. Kimora Lee also took it very hard when Kim Porter passed away, and she hasn't been spotted near Diddy since Kim Porter's passing. Diddy and Kimura's relationship was tumultuous because Kimura was protecting her friend. She never wanted Kim to stay with Diddy, and Kim wasn't. You would think that Kim would have been free to do whatever she wanted to do, because when she passed away in 2018, he was not with her. They were not in a relationship, although she was still living at his lake home. They were not together. He was in a relationship with a whole nother woman at the time. And even before that relationship, he was with Cassie. So yeah, they weren't together. So you would think Kim could date who she wanted, be with who she wanted to be with. No, that was not the case. She was basically like Rapunzel inside of a tower being held away. I'll be sure. Shout out to hotnewhiphop.com. The father of Kim Porter's son, Quincy Brown, is proposing the possibility of her passing being the result of foul play and not due to the complication of illness. The LA County Coroner of Medical Examination determined that Kim Porter passed from lobar pneumonia, and her passing certified as being due to natural causes. I'll Be Sure claimed that in the time leading up to Porter's passing, she was running from someone or something, and that he had told her, recounted in a now deleted Instagram caption, to call the FBI. Side note, so I'll Be Sure completely knew that Kim Porter was running from something or someone. Due to the conversation that they had, I believe that Kim was kind of vague in what she was running from, but he knew that it had everything to do with Diddy. That it wasn't something that Kim Porter had involved herself in personally, which gives why she was probably conflicted, because she may have had some type of guilt in something that was going on. Because if you're completely innocent, then you don't have a problem usually when your life is in danger to go to the authorities. And again, we don't know. Kim could have went to the authorities even if she had some type of wrongdoing. When stating wrongdoing, I'm speaking of Diddy. Diddy is a sick man, and people that are sick like him, they like to get other people to do illegal things so that he has a power over them, so that it's hard for them to go forward and say something when they've done things wrong as well. Look at Cassie and Jennifer Lopez. Both of those women stated that they have had to hold weapons for Diddy. Jennifer Lopez in the 1999 Pop Howling, and Cassie when there was times to where Diddy felt that he had to go get a person together, to where he would ask her to take the weapon of his out of her purse. So you have them doing these wrong things, things that they know that they shouldn't be doing, but they're not given an option. So with the wrongdoing aspect, they're being forced, lives threatened and all type of other stuff. Watching him do these things to people, harm people and whatnot. Those are also ways of forcing people to stay silent when they see how powerful you actually are, how the rules and laws truly do not apply to you. Shout out to I'll Be Sure. I would have to agree with him when he stated that Kim Porter was unalived. Again, I state that because when she did pass, it was noted that when she did have her trip to Africa, when she came back, she did not complain of anything happening to her, no illness, no symptoms, none of that. And a few days before she passed away is when she started to feel certain things. Again, if the original autopsy would have stated that she passed away from pneumonia, then I would consider it. But somebody that was healthy bodied, that wasn't suffering from anything chronic or anything like that, that was not using Uggs or alcohol, it's hard to believe that someone, again, that healthy, just passes away so quickly with no real symptoms. So I would have to agree that I do not believe Kim Porter left this world due to natural causes. And let's never forget the first autopsy report. It was stated by the coroner that Kim Porter's passing was a homicide, okay? Poisoning is what most people are gathering from it, but at the same time, that has not been proven, but it doesn't mean that it is not true. Autopsies have been wrong and doctored for many, 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 many years. And California does not have the best reputation with giving true natural causes of passing. So again, I would have to agree with I'll Be Sure. Let's keep going. We will now drift into Shakir Stewart. If you don't know who Shakir is, he was a record executive in a number of companies, the latest being Def Jam. At the time of his passing, he was the senior vice president of Island Def Jam Music Group and the executive vice president of Def Jam Records. Shakir was a huge record executive. He was very respected. He signed artists like Young Jeezy, even powerhouses like Sierra, and Beyonce. Absolutely. He got Beyonce one of her first solo deals with Arista Records when she first came out as Beyonce, not Destiny's Child, Beyonce. So yeah. And not only that, you could tell how respected he was because Jay-Z had the vice president position, pretty much, well, president position, I should say, at the Island Def Jam Records. He appointed Shakir Stewart to be the vice president and pretty much take his position. So Shakir replaced Jay-Z, but Jay-Z is a boss, so he was not fired. He handed Shakir the torch because he wanted to work on things like Roc Nation and other stuff, management companies and managing A&Rs and getting A&Rs into new business practices underneath Jay-Z's umbrella. So you can't do everything. You can't be everywhere at once. So he gave it to somebody he respected, and that was Shakir Stewart. I know a lot of you are wondering, well, Sean, why are you bringing up Shakir? Easy. Allegedly, Shakir and Kim Porter had a love thing going on. This is just a theory. Everything I am about to say is alleged. I have been correct about a lot of things on Diddy before they have surfaced. No different than Cassie's lawsuit, Lil Rod, aka Rodney Jones' lawsuit. A lot of the things that they brought forward, we have been discussing on this channel for years before they ever said a word. So, the theory that I have about Kim Porter and Shakir, you best believe I'm bringing receipts backing why I think what I think. All right? Let's go. Shakir Stewart, God rest his soul, passed away November 1st, 2008. We will get into that more, but as of now, let's get into what happened before that, allegedly. Shakir and Diddy pretty much never got along. They worked together a lot because, again, he was an A&R, and a lot of the artists that Shakir had worked with Diddy. There was multiple reasons for them to be around each other and being in the same networkings. Again, Jay-Z passed the torch to Shakir, but before he did, he was still cool with Shakir. So why wouldn't Shakir and Diddy be in the same room at some point in time dealing with the same people? With him being in the same room with Diddy, around that time, he's also going to be in a room with somebody else, Kim Porter. Shout out to Gene Deal. While he was bodyguarding for Diddy back in the 90s and early 2000s, he stated that Kim Porter allegedly had her nose broken by Diddy. This reason, because she was flirting with another man, getting too close, too comfortable with another man. Who that was? Allegedly, Shakir Stewart. Not only that, Shakir and Diddy allegedly tried to square up with each other and put hands on each other because of Kim Porter. The two men had to be separated. They had to separate and put Diddy on one side of the event and put Shakir on the other side because things got really tense because of the relationship between Kim Porter and Shakir, allegedly. In 2008, when Shakir passed away, which again, we're going to get into, he was engaged. But in 2007, he was not. Let's get into that. I read this article before, but we're going to read it with a new light. Kim Porter says she was betrayed by Diddy. The music mogul's ex says his infidelity was just one reason behind their split. Shout out to People magazine. I read this article before, but we're going to read it with the new eyes. Kim Porter, who for more than a decade was in an on and off again relationship with Sean Diddy Combs, is coming clean about the dissolution of their romance, saying his philandering was just one of the reasons for their breakup in July. Kim's quote, "As Black women, we sacrifice," Porter tells Essence magazine for its October issue, which hits newsstands Wednesday. Part 1 of her interview was posted on Essence.com last week. "We stand by our man through thick and thin, through whatever. But if you feel like maybe I am getting the short end of the stick, that's when a change has to take place." Porter's rudest awakening in all of her years with Combs 37 took place late last year when she was pregnant with the couple's twin daughters, Delilah Starr and Jesse James, who were born December 21st. That was when a girlfriend informed her that Combs had recently fathered a baby with another woman. Kim's quote, "I wasn't even coming from the place of who, what, why," Porter tells the magazine. "I lay low and did what women do. I did my background work, collected information about the other woman, but I wasn't even on it like that because I was pregnant. And what was bubbling inside me was a blessing from God. I couldn't let my energy be on that. I didn't have time for any drama, trauma, and bullish." I know. So at this point, Kim Porter is letting us know about her breakup with Diddy when it ended for good, which is around 2007, and was the same year he allegedly started dating Cassie, right? What you don't know in the background is allegedly Kim Porter was seeing Stewart at the time. Yes, Shakir Stewart and Kim Porter were allegedly dating, seeing each other. Diddy did not want that to happen. That was a problem for him. I'm just going to say this before we continue this. This major breakup happened in 2007. Shakir passed away in 2008. Shakir passed November 1st, 2008, and Kim Porter passed November 15th, 2018. Let that register. In my opinion, there is a connection. The same year, 2007, that Diddy was fighting his hardest to get Kim back after this infidelity, Kim, even while pregnant, was still talking to Shakir. So Diddy had to put a wedge in that. And it didn't seem allegedly that the wedge was working because, again, in 2008, when Shakir passed, it was rumored that he, even while engaged, that he was seeing Kim Porter, that Kim Porter was allegedly his side girl. In 2008, that same year, all of a sudden, after a Halloween party, he takes his own life. This is getting deep. Porter expresses regret that she didn't first hear about the other child directly from Combs, who declined to speak to Essence for the article and did not return calls from people for comment. "I would have preferred to find out from him because that's a man," she says. "I know it's hard for anyone to say to their significant other, I've gotten into some ish and I got a baby on the way. But men do get caught up in things. I'm not naive to that. Still, there's a right and a wrong way to handle it because most of all, we were friends. Even if I couldn't have understood it as a woman, I would have understood it as a friend." Side note, if you pay attention to a lot of the interviews that Kim did do, which wasn't many, but the interviews that she would do, she always stated Sean Diddy Combs as her friend. This gives Cassie vibes. It gives, we're not in a relationship, I'm being controlled. I think along the way, I'm not going to say she fell, like Stockholm Syndrome fell for the person abusing her. I don't feel like it was that. I think it was she became friendly with the person that was doing these things to her. I don't think that Kim Porter was ever in love with Diddy because she was in love when she met him. She was in love with I'll Be Sure. And I don't think that that love subsided until years later because, again, she did not leave I'll Be Sure and get into a relationship with Diddy. She was removed from the relationship, given no say in the cause. Essence and People tried to reach out to Diddy for comment on this interview that Kim Porter was doing. It's definitely eye-opening. And the reason being is because Diddy controlled Kim. So if Kim was sitting here saying that she did leave him, they were no longer in a relationship, and that he cheated on her and got a woman pregnant and had a baby 5 months before she had her twins, I feel like Diddy didn't mind her talking about it because it pushed his heterosexual agenda. Diddy was having heterosexual problems. Having a woman pregnant that you are allegedly in a relationship on and off with and then getting another woman pregnant while that said woman is pregnant with twins, those are heterosexual issues. So the narrative made him look like a playboy with women. So again, I don't feel like he mined that because there was a lot of gay rumors swirling around about him. I also feel, in my opinion, that Diddy didn't want to speak on this because he wanted to keep himself away from what was to come, which was allegedly this situation with Shakir Stewart and Kim Porter. Something happening to him, he did not want to be linked, meaning if there was a public beef that was going on between Diddy and Shakir, if something happened to Shakir, then why wouldn't people pinpoint and point the finger at Diddy just like they're doing with Kim Porter? Let's switch gears and get back into Shakir. So again, God rest his soul, he passed away on November 1st, 2008. With that being said, a friend of the Def Jam executive saw him wigging out seconds before he took his life. So there was a witness, not just one, there was two witnesses to what allegedly happened to Shakir. Allegedly, he was going through some stuff and he took his own life. So let's get into this article from AJC.com. Close friend was trying to talk to wigging out record executive Shakir Stewart moments before he took his own life Saturday, according to a Cobb County police report. Herb Smith of Dacula said in the report that he had come over to Stewart's Marietta home Saturday at the request of Stewart's fiancée, Michelle Rivers, to talk to the Island Def Jam Records vice president about his change in behavior that concerned his fiancée. Side note, so before Shakir passed away, the behavior that he had was new. Allegedly, his fiancée at the time, Michelle Rivers, said that he was acting extremely strange, that he was basically talking to himself and other things, and she was very confused and concerned about his behavior. I think it's weird to call a close friend if it's that alarming. If it's that alarming, I would contact the police or try to get them to someone that is a professional before sending in a friend. Sometimes friends aren't useful in situations like that because a person does not want them to be worried or concerned and things like that. So it's easier to talk to a stranger. It's easier to talk to someone that you don't feel will be burdened by the information that you are giving. And when he got to Stewart's home, again, Stewart was very dismissive, and we're going to get into that right now. Smith told police that he noticed a behavioral change in Stewart when he arrived at the house and that Stewart was wigging out. In the police report, Smith said, while trying to talk to him, Stewart began telling him to leave. He told Smith to go back home to his wife and children, according to the report, because he did not need to be at Stewart's house. When Smith stepped outside of the house at 3860 Lindsay Drive to call 911, he heard a weapon go off from inside of the home, the report said. Smith told police that Rivers was in the kitchen at the time of the pow-powing. Smith found the 34-year-old Stewart on the master bedroom floor. Side note, so this situation is completely bizarre and sketchy, and I'm going to tell you why. Sometimes when you hear stories, it kind of goes over your head. So I'm going to break it down so you can see that this situation is eerie. Let's start off with the fiancée, Michelle Rivers. Michelle Rivers allegedly calls Herb Smith, which is a good friend or best friend of Shakir Stewart. He arrives to the home, but before he arrives to the home, Michelle tells him that Shakir has been acting weird, that his behavior is outlandish and it's not adding up. So Herb gets in his car, drives over. Here's the problem with that. Herb said that he already knew that Shakir was acting weird. When Herb arrived at the home, he already knew that there was some strange behavior going on before he got there. So in my opinion, he could have called 911 if he was going to call 911. He could have called then. Because I don't believe Michelle called him to tell him that he was just over there yelling and things like that. No, I think it was way more going on for her to need to get somebody over there right away. For Herb to approach Stewart and Stewart tell him to leave and go back home to his wife and kids, was this an argument being had? Meaning, was Shakir upset with Herb? Why would he tell him to leave if he is frantic within that point in time? You would think that a friend would at least talk to him or let him know the gravity of what's going on. He didn't. He told him to leave. So what was the relationship dynamic between Herb and Shakir? Now, I know they couldn't have been enemies because they had just hung out together. They went to a Halloween party, which we're going to get into that too. They wouldn't hung out. So clearly they had to be okay with one another. I'm thinking, did something happen between Shakir, Michelle, and Herb the day before? Okay, now that's just a theory. I don't know, but we'll travel back to that. Other thing that I find sketchy and that is weird is that Shakir never told Herb what was going on. Herb, still to this day, has no idea why when he got there that Shakir was wigging out. I don't believe Herb. I think he knows more than what he is leading on because, again, this is your close friend. So how do you not even have an idea of what's going on with him if you are supposed to be so close? Another sketchy thing that I find, while Stewart was wigging out, which is Shakir, Herb was there. Herb said Shakir told him to leave and go back home to his wife and kids. So outside of the home, he was calling 911 because he didn't feel that, because it had to have been something really bad going on in order for Herb to feel that he needed to call 911. Herb said while he was on the phone with the 911, while he called 911, that the pow pow went off in the house, that the weapon went off in the house. If it did, then why wasn't that on the 911 call? That doesn't make sense because he would have said that on the 911 call. During the 911 call, he said that Shakir had already been pow-powed. That had already happened. If you pay attention to the police report, he said that it happened while he was outside on the phone with 911. That is sketchy. Why does 911 not know that? Why do they not know during the call that the pow-pow had happened? Another thing I find extremely sketchy, if Herb was outside of the home, how did he know Michelle was in the kitchen? He said that Shakir was upstairs in the master bedroom on the floor, and when the pow pow happened, Michelle was in the kitchen, but he, Herb, was outside. So how do you know Michelle was in the kitchen? If a weapon goes off in the home, the first thing you're going to do is go to where you feel like you heard it, whether the side of the home or you're just going to go around and search until you find where it came from. Why would she be in the kitchen? So when he came into the house, because he said he found Shakir. So if he found him, that means how he knew she was in the kitchen, because when he came in the house, she was still in the kitchen. That does not make any sense. Your loved one, someone you know is wigging out, someone you know is having a difficult time and is having behaviors that have never shown before, you're going to want to stay close to them. You're not going to want to stay too far. If she wasn't close to him, if he was standoffish, if he was dismissive, what did Michelle and Herb do to make this man suspicious, to make this man dismissive, to make him not want anything to do with him in his final moments? Two of the most important people in his life, he wanted nothing to do with. Explain. I'm just calling a thing a thing. Another thing that I'm very suspicious of, if he was wigging out, if he had strange behavior, he was on the phone with random people, things in that nature, Michelle or Herb didn't hear anything. So Michelle didn't hear any of these conversations that he would be having to make him upset. So she may not know the whole story, but you're going to find out bits and pieces why a person is mad if they are having outlandish behavior, if they are irate and you don't know why. If they're on phones and talking to people or people are coming over visiting and stuff like that, then at some point in time, you're going to hear or know or be told something. I hope you all enjoyed part one. In part two, we will merge the Kim Porter and Shakir Stewart story. We will merge them both together because I have some information that ties Diddy, Shakir, and Kim together before Shakir passed away and Kim Porter passed away that is going to blow your mind. Make sure you tune into part two. I love you all. I really hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you think Shakir took his own life, or do you think that maybe somebody helped, or maybe somebody close to him did a favor for someone? We will definitely get into that in part two. Until the next video, I love you all. Bye.